In this video, I will show you how to find an imbalance or a fair value gap, and how you can use it to find your entries. Because most people call it differently, like it's either the fair value gap or an imbalance. It's the same thing, and it's a gap between 3 candles, and you can use it for very good entries. And this is what I use for my entries as well. It's what I show in the YouTube video, so it's very important to understand what a fair value gap is. So you can basically find these fair value gaps on every single time frame. Now I'm doing this on the 5-minute time frame. You can find them on the 50 minutes, the 1 hour, every single time frame they are being respected. The reason why these fair value gaps / imbalances are respected so well is because this is what the algorithms are targeting. Algorithms used by the institutions and the banks, and they are looking for these fair value gaps. They want to fill up these gaps. So before I will show you some examples, I will explain how it exactly works. So basically it's a space between the first and the third candle. So let's say you have this green candle, then this green candle, and then this green candle. The fair value gap is the space between the first candle, which is this one, and the third candle. So the space between the top of the first candle and the bottom of the third candle. And as you can see, this fair value gap that's being created here, it has been created by this candle. So what you will often see is, you will see these fair value gaps being created with very rapid price movements. So when there's a very rapid price movement, a fast movement in price, you will see that these imbalances, these fair value gaps, however you want to call them, are being created. And these gaps create opportunities for entries. Because you could see this as an inefficiency. So the market doesn't like these inefficiencies, and that's why the algorithms will be targeting these kind of gaps. Now I will get some examples. So for example, here you can see this is a bullish candle. Then you see this large bullish candle closing above it. And then you see another bullish candle, which created this fair value gap, aka imbalance. It's the same thing. So that's why it might be confusing. Some people call it an imbalance, some people call it a fair value gap. It's the exact same thing. And you can see it's been created here because this is the top of the first candle. And this is the third candle. So it doesn't matter which one you mark as the first, because you might think, okay, this is the first candle. Well, yeah, that's true, because there's also a fair value gap here. So you're looking for these kind of gaps being created by fast price movements. And this was a very rapid price movement, as you can see. That's why I created these gaps. And as you can see as well, if we mark this fair value gap, for example, and we mark this one, you can see that both of them were a very good entry for a long. So you could have placed your entry, for example, on these fair value gaps like this, and you had a lot of potential for a very good trade. So these fair value gaps are what I use to find my entries, and I sometimes place them on the fair value gap themselves, and sometimes I place them on the candle. So for example, this is the candle, the first candle that created this fair value gap, so you can place it either on the fair value gap or on the candle itself, the first candle. And let's look at a bearish example. So as you can see here, you have this candle, then this large candle making a gap. So this is the gap between this bullish candle and this bearish candle. So the colors of the candles do not matter. It doesn't matter if it's a bearish or bullish candle. It's about the space, the gap being created between the candles. So I don't care about the colors. It's just about the gap between the candles. So here you can see a gap being created, and then it's immediately mitigated by this wick. So that's what you often see. You see these fair value gaps being mitigated, being filled up really rapidly after they are created. Same thing here with this bullish fair value gap between this candle and this candle. It was mitigated right after being created. That's why price was looking for it, because those algorithms want to fill up these gaps. So you will see a lot of fair value gaps in your own chart like this that are being filled up immediately after being created. So to show another example in the 50 minutes, because it works on any time frame, like I said, you can see this gap being created. So this is the first candle. This is a long bullish candle creating a gap. Then it closes here. So this is a gap. you can see that it has been filled up by this wick. So I'm talking about this wick. And later on, it was even filled up more by this candle. So you had two opportunities to place a trade. You could either have placed your trade on the top of the fair value gap, like this. And I won't be talking about the stop loss this time, so let's just assume you would have placed it here. Then you would have targeted this high. That's what I would have done. So, or you could target this fair value gap as well. So there's a fair value gap here, and there's one here. Or you can target the liquidity, which is what I often do for my take profits. So now you place your entry, and as you can see, you had two opportunities to get into the trade. So you can also be more defensive, because this is the top of the fair value gap. So you can also place it in the middle of it, at the 50% level of the fair value gap, or at the lowest point of the fair value gap, which is this demand zone. So I won't be talking about demand and supply zones in this video. I will make other videos about it. So demand and supply zones are always the first candle that creates the gap. So you could have placed it on the demand zone like this. You would have not been in the trade this time. Or you could have placed it on the top of your fair value gap like this. So this was the explanation of the fair value gaps / imbalances. Hopefully it's very clear to you now, because we'll be talking about this in the upcoming videos. And if you don't quite understand it, rewatch the video, find these imbalances, these fair value gaps yourself in your own chart, and see if you can find good entries that would have been profitable. Before we end the video, if you struggle to become profitable, you can watch my videos. Everything is for free. I don't sell a course, so I make these videos completely for free. However, if you still struggle to get consistent profits, you can send me a message on Instagram @AlanTheTrader, because I can also help you with that in my profitability program. So thanks for watching the video. I will see you next time.